Hello, everyone. Great to see so many of you already. I can see some people are still dropping in. But thank you so much for joining our first Digital UCG session of this week. And we will start with an introduction to the liberal arts and sciences at UCG. We are recording this session, just double checking. Yes, we are recording this session. Thank you, Marika. So if you want to rewatch the sessions that are being held this week, you can always watch them later after Digital UCG is over. I'm here today with, let me see. Can you hear me? Please raise your hand if you can. Okay, good. Okay, Marika, I think you have to check your audio. Thank you, guys. Thank you. It's good to hear that you can hear me. As I was saying, I'm here today with Dr. Elizabeth Mix and Marika Sipkis. Marika and I, we will be monitoring the chat today. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we will answer them as best as we can. And Elizabeth will give you some more insight into what liberal arts and sciences at UCG entails. So even though I can see some people are still joining, let me see, hopefully, still some more. But it's good to have so many of you here already. Now, we are obviously located in the Netherlands, but I would like to hear from you guys where you are from. Is it also afternoon, same as what it is here? Is it 4 o'clock? Or are you in a completely different time zone, a different country, or maybe even a different continent? Austria, Munich, let's see, South Africa, Namibia. Oh my God, we're from India. We're from all over the world today. So I'm really happy. Malta, Norway, India. Oh my goodness, that is amazing. Thank you guys so much for joining. It is lovely to have you all here online today with you, wherever you are in the world. Now, I have talked long enough, so I'm going to give the floor over to Elizabeth.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you raise your hand if you can hear me? Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Yes.
So yes, I'm Elizabeth Mix. I'm going to give you a very broad overview to the Liberal Arts and Sciences program at University College Groningen. We are a faculty that is part of a major research university, and we offer a bachelor degree in liberal arts and sciences, and we call this LAS. We'll talk a little bit later about the BA versus BSc that you can earn at our faculty. So we've designed our program very carefully, and so I've got a number of points here that to demonstrate that. We know that students change their minds. I mean, this is just the way that it is, especially when you transition from high school into college or university. You get exposed to new things that you haven't seen before, and as a result, that causes you to change your mind. We really designed our program to encourage you to explore and to honor the idea that students will change their minds. For that reason, it's kind of built into our program. We know that you really develop your knowledge through multiple practices. So having multiple assignments, not just having one giant test at the end of the semester. So if you were attending one of the other faculties at University Groningen, you would find that the vast majority of the classes have that kind of assessment. You go through the whole course, and then at the end you take a giant test. You pass the test, you pass the class. You don't pass the test, you don't pass the class. So we've got multiple assessments in our program. That means that you have at least 3 separate assignments that you get feedback on, and you have a good sense of what you need to do in order to improve as you go through our program. We also know that you want freedom and choice. And we've built that into our program at multiple levels. It's built in at the course level. So within courses and within projects, you've got lots of choices for how you can pursue those from a methodology and also a content standpoint. You've got choices of the type of major that you pursue. We'll talk more about that. And you've got choices for electives in our program and all throughout really our program. We know that you need time and support to transition to college, and that's why we really work carefully to provide a soft landing. This is particularly important given the highly international nature of our program. So 65% of our students or higher some years are not Dutch. That means they come from all over the world. And so we know that you're going to be integrating into a college level environment at the same time that you're integrating into the Netherlands as a country and the city of Groningen. So we think about this very carefully, and it's very carefully connected to the choice models that you have in the first semester. We know the job market is changing. So the reality is that 5 years from now, or even 3 years from now, if you were starting this coming year, there will be jobs that exist that didn't exist when you started your college program. We also know that there will be jobs that exist right now that won't exist in the future. And even if you think about something like being a web app developer, right? So that's a new type of career. Several years ago, there was no such thing. And if you're wondering, well, how do I prepare for that? How do I prepare for a job market that is really changing very quickly now? We also know that you will have up to 5 different careers in your lifetime. And that means you've got to be able to spot those opportunities, know when to pivot, know when to develop your skills more. LAS programs are uniquely designed to give you this kind of flexible approach to the future, where you'll be able to grow and change as your interests change, as the career market changes, and also gives you the ability to invent your own career should you decide to do that. We know that you need broad and deep knowledge, and we know that employers and master's programs are looking for a specific skill set. And so our program is inherently embedded with these kinds of skills and knowledge. So we do something very unique at UCG. We talk about your skill development, or what we call the learning outcomes associated with our program, into very specific real world roles. So as you go through our program, you become the innovator who's able to think critically and creatively, develop this entrepreneurial mindset. That does not mean that you're going to start your own company. That means that you are able to see and act upon opportunities. That's what an entrepreneurial mindset is. You'll become an excellent communicator in multiple media. You'll be able to integrate content across different academic disciplines. That's called being able to function in an interdisciplinary way, and that's the way that we can address the world's biggest problems right now, be it climate change or the refugee crisis. You need people from different disciplines working together in order to solve these major problems. You will, of course, become a researcher. This is really important, and that's one of the roles that you could pursue in a regular faculty at the University of Groningen, but you see that in our context, you are a researcher plus all of these other things. And lastly, but not leastly, you become a collaborator with people from diverse cultural backgrounds. And that means that when you graduate from our program, you've got a lot of these rich skills that master's programs really need you to have. And trust me, our alumni say that these skills have made their transition into master's programs really easy when everyone else is freaking out about making presentations and writing reports and making projects. They're really very well adapted to doing this. And you also have this skill of being able to collaborate. And in our more globalized society now, that's more and more the case. I'd be hard pressed to find a company anywhere where you wouldn't be working with people from lots of different cultures in that environment. So when you've got these LAS skills like communication and research developed within these real world roles like the communicator or the academic collaborator, you've got the ability to pursue many different careers, transition between careers throughout your lifetime should you decide to do that. You can pursue a variety of master's studies, and of course you can go after current careers that don't currently exist or even create your own career. This is an overview of our basic program. So you'll see that you've got 55 credits. ECTS stands for credits. That's 55 credits in what we call the academic core. So these are your skills classes. These are your projects that you will take every year. That's one of the ways that our program is really unique. And you'll have a number of core electives here, and a very unique class called Exploring Challenges in Modern Society that's taught by a rotating group of 6 or 7 different professors who are experts in different fields that come at one topic. So you get that introduction to interdisciplinarity right away in our program. You've got 95 credits to spend on your major, and that's where you develop your content depth. And this is where you'll have specialized courses in research and methodology and elective courses and a thesis that are all embedded into that major. Then we've got this really exciting and very flexible space we call the minor space. That's 30 credits that you can spend in a number of different ways. You can deepen your major by selecting an additional 30 credits. And for students that want to pursue certain master's programs, that's the way we suggest that you leverage that minor space. If you want, you can spend it studying abroad for a whole semester. You can also do a 15-credit internship and do an additional 15 credits of courses of your choosing. You can pursue what's called a personal minor, which means that there are really no limits to how you can use those credits. Or if you want something that's very tight and specific, you can pursue any of the minors at the University of Groningen with this 30 credits. So lots of flexibility and choices here. We have different styles of majors. We have a free major. We're the only university college with this option. And this is a highly personalized, high level of freedom type of major. So you design your own major. You do this, of course, with guidance. You're not just putting a bunch of random courses together, but you're free to select things and then develop something that's very specific. So we had a student a few years ago who did a free major focused on law and cybersecurity, for instance. So you can take those things that you become very passionate about, you can take those things that become a career path, and you can build them into your self-styled major. Or we've got more traditional majors in the sciences, social sciences, and humanities. And in these cases, you've got some freedom through a lot of choices and electives, but you've got more structure than a free major. And then we've got courses that are even more strictly put together, and those are called specializations. And in these, you follow a very specific recipe, and usually you do that because you're interested in going into a particular master's program. So these specializations put together clusters of courses that are needed to go into master's. Here are the majors and the major specializations. So you'll see in the humanities, there are 2 options for this much more structured program around social and cultural change, or truth, meaning, and rationality. In the sciences, you've got smart technologies. That's your artificial intelligence kind of major. There's mind, machines, and morality, and that's more the ethical implications of artificial intelligence. And there's also health and life sciences here. In social sciences, you've got 4 different specializations to choose from: mind and behavior, if you're interested in psychology; philosophy, politics, and economics, speaks for itself. It's a combination of those 3 disciplines: international business and entrepreneurship, and also international relations and international law. So I mentioned that you don't just like randomly put together a bunch of courses, and we've got very careful guidance at UCG. We've got a number of academic advisors who help you put together your program and make sure that you stay on track throughout the program. And we also have a personal support advisor who's there to help you with anything that might have an impact on your studies. And so you can learn a lot more about guidance on the website in our Digital UCG. This is a little graphic that shows the milestones that we hit when we're providing you with that personalized guidance. So you'll see that we've got 3 years, we've got 4 blocks in each year, and almost every block you've got something very specific that you will discuss with your academic advisor. And we plan well ahead. So you start thinking about what you'll do with what we call semester 5. That is that 30 credits that you spend studying abroad or in a minor space, that you start thinking about that very early, so you're prepared for it, for instance. Students often ask about year 1. So I mentioned this course, Exploring Challenges in Modern Society. That's where you've got multiple professionals, multiple professors that teach on a particular topic, and you rotate through them. And that covers the full first semester, blocks 1 and 2 of the first year. You also have an academic skills class. That is your college level communication class. So that's where you learn to write in a way that's appropriate for college and be able to start writing in a way that's appropriate on a professional level. You also get an introduction to academic research in the second block. And you have 2 core electives that you can choose from. And these are really carefully designed, very unique interdisciplinary courses. We'll show you the list of them in just a second. In the second half of the first year, in blocks 3 and 4, that's when we expect you to declare your major or specialization. And then you will have 4 electives that are in that major or specialization, or of course, if you're in the pre-major, then you've got lots and lots of electives to choose from in that second block. You also have a more specific research and methodology course now that's based on your trajectory towards your bachelor's thesis. And you will have a project. You do have a project in every single year, but you can see kind of how the project fits in to the overall picture of the first year. Our course electives in the recent years have included these courses that you see on the screen. The most popular, even before the current war in Ukraine, was the course War, and the second most popular was the course Love. Although all of these are really interesting courses that come at topics from a multitude of different disciplines. In the Love course, for instance, you learn about love from a scientist and a philosopher and a psychologist. So they all bring their discipline to bear on that topic. And that's kind of how all of these courses work, in a very interdisciplinary way. So what makes us unique? There are 11 of these university colleges throughout the Netherlands. These are the things that make us different than the other university colleges. Of course, we're all doing what's called a liberal arts and science degree, but we are the only one that has projects in every year. That gives you lots of freedom and choice, but it also gives you the ability to graduate with project management experience. When you start out, you'll get a lot of help from the teacher in the skills that you need in order to have a successful project. By the time you graduate, we expect that you will be putting together your own project team, and that might be from outside the university, within the community. It might be from outside of our college, or outside of our faculty, with other students from other faculties at the University of Groningen. And I always really suggest that when you think about that thesis in the third year and you think about the project in the third year, you really want to be thinking about what are you going to do next. So those things should have a direct bearing on the master's program that you're going to go into, or if you're going to go direct into a career, what's the career that you want to go into at that point? And of course, if you're doing the internship, the 15 credit internship, that's another place where you leverage right into the career market in your third year. We are the only UC that embeds our skill development roles, and that is to enhance the real world experience. So you are getting a theoretical basis, but you are also getting a very practical education at UCG. We are the only UC that allows the freedom to explore in the first year. The vast majority of the other university colleges ask you to declare what your major will actually be before you start. And as a result, you will probably change your mind, and sometimes that can cause you to fall behind in your studies. And so we built that into our program. You have that time to explore and change your mind and not fall behind. We also have really an unprecedented amount of choice through electives, especially in the first year of our program. We have the 15 credit internship on offer to connect you to the labor market. That's also quite unique. We're the only UC that has a free major and the only UC that has a double degree program with Ca' Foscari in Venice. And this is specifically designed for students who follow the philosophy, politics, and economics specialization in the social sciences. So in this program, you do 2 years with us, you do 2 years in Venice. So it's 4 years, but you're actually receiving a degree from 2 universities. So our campus life, it's important for you to know that we value the development of students in the community, and we care deeply about the integration of students from outside the Netherlands into our community. And for that reason, it is required that you stay in our housing for the first year. And why is this important? Well, a couple of very important reasons. It is almost impossible to find a place to stay in Groningen. We don't want you to get scammed or ripped off. And that is one reason that this is a tremendous opportunity. It also gives you the opportunity to live with the people who you are working with on the projects. It makes collaborating much easier. But the real long-term goal here in having the required housing on campus is that this is where you create that career network for yourself after you graduate. And our students report this every year. So by living in the student housing, you are fostering these connections that it is difficult to get as deep and as rich if you are living outside. And Iris and Marika are probably going to tell you more about our particular current housing location. And then depending on what year you are, we're currently building a new housing complex. And it's possible that if you're not coming this coming year, you might be in our new housing. So Groningen is really a top student city. It's got, well, more than 50,000 students now. I think the latest number I saw was more like 60,000 students, and from all over the world. So if you do not speak Dutch, do not worry. It is very English friendly. Of course, you're always welcome and encouraged to study the language. We have lots of different opportunities for your social life, and part of the soft landing and our control over your schedule in the first semester is really to make sure that you can take advantage of all of these social opportunities without overwhelming yourself, right? So we've got our own student study association, Kairos. They've got a whole bunch of different kinds of committees. I encourage you to go to their website and check them out. If you don't see a committee that you want, you can start your own. Our students have been very active in starting not just committees, but actual social organizations to improve the campus. There's all kinds of sports events, international trips, dinners, parties. We have guest lectures, skills training, and excursions that happen within the classes that you take. For instance, if you take the core elective, how things work, they typically go ice skating in that class. What? That's right. The class is kind of about physics, but physics and practical applications of everyday life. And they study the physics of skating by going to the ice skating rink. So again, you live together, you study together, and outside UCG, within the broader university, there are even more associations and committees that you can get involved in. And then Groningen is a very rich city in terms of all different kinds of cultural activities. So it would be difficult, I think, for you to not find what you are interested in that particular city in the Netherlands. So after UCG, you will graduate either with a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Sciences, and that depends on the major that you've pursued. If you are doing the free major, then literally you will get the degree that most of your classes are in, sciences or arts, right, or humanities. So you develop this broad and deep academic knowledge, and you get these creative problem-solving skills that are transferable to many industries. That's really what the employers are looking for. It's also what the master's programs are looking for. And so you're also prepared for master's degrees and careers in lots of different disciplines. And we list some examples here. I encourage you to go to our website. There's many more examples there. But we've got students who've gone on to study environmental psychology, international human rights and global criminal law, cancer stem cells and developmental biology. They pursued pre-masters in medicine. They studied masters in economics and business, and also masters in conflict security and development, and many, many more, right? So if this sounds like you want to change course for the better for yourself and also for society. You want the ability to make choices in the face of uncertainty. And I think the last couple of years have really demonstrated to us just how much uncertainty the world can be in. If you want the ability to be adaptive and resilient in a changing career market, and you want to be inquisitive, ambitious, collaborative, creative, and entrepreneurial, this could be the right program for you. And notice that I say you want those things. So we don't expect you to have any of those things. If you do, great. But you just want to have, we need you to have the passion to want to have yourself develop these kinds of skills. And I really want to emphasize that introverts and extroverts are equally welcome in our community. They all equally have a really large contribution to make to our environment. And so we encourage you to apply. So at this point, I think I'm going to hand it off to Iris and Marika, and we'll get your questions answered.
Yes, thank you so much, Elizabeth, for joining us today and sharing all the information on UCG and our Liberal Arts and Sciences program. I can see there are already some questions being answered in the chat. So, for example, we had someone asking how many different courses are the students supposed to follow in the first year, and you're supposed to follow 12 courses in the first year. So you have about 6 courses per semester, and that semester is divided into 2 blocks. So you usually work with 3 courses in each block. And someone also asked, do you offer some kind of Dutch language courses? We do. There are Dutch courses being offered at the Language Center of the university, and they are free for UCG students as well. And I believe someone was asking about the examples of master programs that our alumni pursue. You can find more information in the link that we posted in the chat box on that. And not only is that for master programs, but also a little bit more about alumni who went into a job position or went on to maybe perhaps do a traineeship of some sorts. Let's see, are there any other questions? Anna is asking how many apply and how many are taken. Marika, do you have the current numbers on that? Or can you shed some light on that? We have about 800 applications per year. So, and we have, that's a very important one. We have room for 150 students for each academic year. Now, if you want to know more about admissions and our whole admission process and the eligibility of our students, then perhaps the session of tonight at 7 p.m. CET will be something for you, because that will be on everything about admissions, and Marika will host that one. I'll be there to answer any questions as well, but that session will be fully dedicated to admissions and our admission process. where can we find more information about the courses we can take? And Marike already shared the link in the chat box there. Can UCG students take classes outside UCG? Well, like in the first year, you will have your courses all at UCG. And then it kind of depends on what you pick in the second and third year. So what your major will be, perhaps your major specialization, but there are quite some students who indeed follow courses at a different faculty of the university. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Marike or Elizabeth. But that's what I have always seen. Let me see. Oh, well, this is a general question in regards to applying in the Netherlands, and that might be a very good one as well. Someone is applying to, or a friend of someone is applying to a university in the Netherlands, but they were told that they can only apply to one university in the Netherlands at a time. This is not true. You can apply up to 4 different university colleges in the Netherlands. So if you have interest in various UCs, then you can spread your chances, so to say. Thank you, Elizabeth, for the confirmation. So yes, in regards to the question of UCG students taking classes outside UCG in the second and third year, that is definitely possible, depending on the major or major specialization that you choose, of course. Now let's see, are there any other questions? Of course, if you have questions afterwards and you feel like, oh, I really wanted to know that, you can always send us an email at, hold on, I'm just checking my second screen, at UCG, oh yeah, that one as well, at newstudents.ucg.rug.nl for admission questions. And if you have any general questions, you can contact us at Thank you, Marike. Exactly. Will you provide a replay of our presentations? Yes, we do. So as we mentioned, we record all of our sessions, and somewhere next week, we will try to put them up on the website. Once Digital UCG is over, we will collect everything. Oh, that is a very good one as well. Do we need to apply for housing in the first year, or is it set? All the first years live together in the accommodation provided by us. So we will guide you through the housing process in due time if you have received an offer and accepted an offer of UCG. And if you want to watch Frascati, our housing, you have to scroll up a little bit in the chat box, because I did share the housing tour. I can also, of course, share it again. Oh, please, let me see. There we go. How are the fees concerning the housing? Okay, yeah, that is about, it kind of depends on the room you select, because there are some standard rooms, and I believe there are about 19 square meters. And I think these are about 470, 500 euros all included. Now, of course, there are also there are a few really big rooms, and these are more expensive. You will see an example in the housing tour as well. But that is something that kind of range from 470, 500 to, I think 700 is the biggest one, is something that you can look into. In the housing, are we going to be living with students from only the same faculty? There are other students from the University of Groningen living in the housing. However, they are not in the same units as the first years, or as our first years are. So we do have specific units in the Frascati, and this might be a little bit technical, but there are various units ranging from 4 people per unit to 10 people per unit. So you will always be mostly living in I'm sorry, I was checking the chat box. You will be living with first-year students, maybe second-year students of UCG as well. But normally there are no students outside UCG in the units that you live in. So they might be in the building, but not in the same unit. By when do we have to be on campus? To be honest, I'm not completely sure what the move-in dates are this year. They are being set by the organization that we work together with. But the semester starts on the 1st of September. And normally our introduction committee of our student association, they do offer an intro week for all of the first years as well. Our academic intro week starts on 29th of August, so then you have to be in Groningen. But normally the introduction week from our study association starts somewhere half August. Yeah, I think around 15th of August, the introduction week starts. So, of course, depending on the moving in dates this year, you can most of the time select that for yourself, but that also depends on our external organization. But you do have to be on campus on the 29th of August, because then the academic intro week starts and we expect all of our first years to be there. Oh yeah, that is a very good one. So of course, there are a lot of first-year students starting in August, in September, August. So there is a general introduction week. I think in the UK they call it Freshers Week, something like that, for all of the first-year students of the university and the University of Applied Sciences in Groningen. And that one starts on 15th of August. So I would really recommend you to try to get to Groningen if you have an offer from us and if you're going to study at UCG. Try to be here at the 15th of August, because then you also have some time to discover your perhaps new city where you will live in for at least the next 3 years. You can ground a little bit and you can participate in all the fun introduction activities that are being offered for the first year students, not only from the university as a whole, but also later on for the first years of UCG. Yeah, that's a very good point from Elizabeth as well. The academic introduction week is also the first week of classes, so you really, really have to be here by 29th of August. Oh, a good question. How long do we have to figure out our major? How long do we have to figure out our major, even if it's a free major? By when should we know? We do encourage you to declare your major after the first semester before you register for courses for the second semester, because then you can already start moving towards your major or major specialization of choice. And of course, there is some wiggle room, but especially if you do declare a free major, then you don't need to have everything figured out right away. If you are going for a free major, you would do that with the help of a tutor. So that is something. You don't need to figure it all out on your own. I received the information that for admissions, a motivational video is needed. Could you give any tips on how to best structure this video? Robin, I would really advise you to join admissions, all you need to know, because Marika will be telling you everything about the motivation video and what you need to know. Otherwise, you can also find most things on our website. Let me quickly find the right link for you. But definitely try and see if you can join our session later this evening. Here we go. Ah, I'm on the wrong computer. Here we go. Under step 2, you will find more information on the motivation video. If we decide to participate in the Kai Week, will we be able to stay in our university dorms, or will we need to find lodging until the start of the academic year? Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. Thank you, Monica. So, you can move into our student housing from 8th of August onwards. So, moving in days are around 8th of August. Thank you. I think we have answered quite some questions already, of course. So I want to thank you all for being here today. Yes. If you want to know more about the motivation video, you can, of course, check the link. And otherwise, we hope to see you at the admissions session later tonight. Thank you all, and wherever you are in the world, I really think it's amazing that there are so many people joining from different nationalities and different cultures. So thank you so much for being part of this first session of Digital UCG. Of course, we do hope that you will join us for different sessions later this week. Have I forgotten a question? So sorry for that. Let me double check. Okay, I do believe, oh yeah, thank you. How are the classes during summer, winter semesters? If you mean by that a summer school of some sort, I know we've had some in the previous years. I don't know if they will be held again this year. But yeah, we do, of course, we do have classes and courses during the regular semesters, but I'm not too sure on the summer school. That's perfect. Thank you so much for posting the academic calendar link. That's a great one. All right, guys. See you at the other sections. Thank you so much for joining. I hope this was informative for you all and really helpful. And we hope to see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.